Let me start that over. I do greatly apologize for the tardiness here tonight. This week has not been an easy one for our family. I'm not going to really share details at the current moment. In due time, I will let everyone know. It's not been easy. I apologize for the tardiness. We have a lot we got to get into here tonight, and it is going to be a great week for LSU football. A lot of people in the national media I'm sorry, just kind of got some picking against you. The question is, in the last time this happened, a lot of people doubted you and didn't believe that you could go into a hostile environment. You were able to hold strong and be strong and pull one out. With that being said, the question becomes now, you're not a favorite with our good friends over at FanDuel. Ole Miss is. Can you go into Vaughton Hemingway Stadium and win? What are the things that you have to do and not to do to win this football game? And it's something that we are going to talk about here tonight. Brad Logan was going to join us. He does believe in Ole Miss. He had a situation himself come up. He's not going to be able to join us tonight. That's okay. So we will try to get Brad on at some point this week. I understand when things happen. Lane Kiffin is going to name a starting quarterback and already has, per Chris Lowe of On 3 Sports. We'll talk about that. Now that it's official, what does it mean that Chambliss is going to be the starting quarterback? We'll break all that down. We'll break him down. Who is this kid? Who is Trinidad Chambliss? We'll discuss all of that as well. And earlier today, I know we did a part 1 of this, but we are going to do a part 2. Earlier today at our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media, which, by the way, I tell you this all the time. Our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media and Service Hawk Digital Marketing are the outright best. Guys, if you are in the 225-985-504, there have been literal business owners that have voted on this. There have been awards that have been given out for the most production in marketing around the state of Louisiana, and Service Hawk Digital Marketing keeps winning. The reason we aligned ourselves with them, by the way, is because of how amazing they are, Lee and Justin and their team, of how they dominate the marketing space. If you're an HVAC, electrical pro, generator pro, you need to go over, or if you just own a business. Guys, there's a reason why we've partnered with them myself. I am a business owner. The reason we do this is because they are the best. Was over there today, and we did a video from Service Hawk Digital Marketing and Service Hawk Digital Media. We did a Q&A. Tonight, we're going to do a part 2 of that. The first time that we've ever done this. So many questions flew in. Guys, we had over 350 comments and questions on social media today about me asking you just a simple question. What are the biggest concerns and not even biggest concerns, what are the biggest questions that you have going into this game versus Ole Miss? We had a part 1 of that. We're going to do a part 2 here tonight and discuss that. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be a lot of talking points that we got to get into, and I am here for it. I'm glad that you're here with us as well. Penn Jones with a $5 super chat says, praying for you and your family. Thank you, Penn, and thank you for always being there, my man. Yeah, it's not been easy. It's not been a in due time. It hasn't been easy, but I do greatly appreciate that. I mean, listen, man, you don't know how what life's going to bring you. And you never know really either the people that are going to get put in your life. And it is always unfortunate when things happen. So all I ask is that you pray for us. And I do just greatly appreciate y'all's prayers and y'all's thoughts. And again, you guys are a part of AYS as much as I am. I don't get to do this without you. But sometimes, we have to peel back the curtain, and guys, I'm just a human. I'm just a guy. I am wrong all the time. I am right a lot of times. I am wrong a lot of times. In the end of this, we are all humans. We are all humans. Tyler Townsend says, let's go from the 318. Tyler did hit me up. I might be doing some stuff with Tyler here. A lot of you have been asking about these hats. So we're going to figure that out. Way too many of you are asking about these hats, and so we'll get a couple and hand them out here. Gerald Rhodes with a $10 super chat says, much loves, prayers, Blake. Thank you, man. We need them. It's been pretty tough. Dick, but thank you, Gerald. Penn, both of you. I greatly appreciate it, man. I do. Dr. John Sibley Butler says prayers. Thank you. Yeah, not again, just a tough week. Pretty much started on Sunday. And from there it's been a tough one. So again, I apologize for the tardiness. I just kind of had a little bit of an episode there. So we are people, man. And we're just never going to, we're always going to have our faults and our differences, but it's always great to know that we have people like y'all in here that will come in and comfort somebody. And, so many things have been made around our country these last couple of weeks, and somewhat rightfully so in a lot of regards. But then when you see the human decency, like y'all are showing me and my family and my wife, prayers not to me, I ask you to just specifically pray for my wife. It's been tough. Very, very, very tough. So thank you all. I greatly appreciate it. Let's get to some football here. Thank you for all the AJ Bama, David Bogan, Justin. I see all of you in the chat. Thank y'all so much, man. Thank y'all so much. I do greatly appreciate it. Derek says, my main concern is, can we beat the running quarterback from Ole Miss? It's a great question. And we are going to lead off with that tonight, as it has been reported per On3 that Chambliss and Chris Lowe, who, guys, with the Saban tree, nobody's more plugged in than Chris Lowe. And they're going to run with Chambliss, and they should. We'll talk about that in great detail when we come out of the break here. We will. Rick says, hit that like button, y'all. Yes. Not only should you hit the like button, where are y'all watching from tonight? I feel like because it's been such a chaotic week, I haven't even asked you, where is everybody watching from this week? Where are you watching from tonight? But the other thing that we ask you to do, we only ask you to do a couple of things. We suggest you to go to all these places for business. It's how we maintain. It's how we keep afloat around here. But I personally only ask you to do two things. Subscribe, hit the like button, or three things. Subscribe, hit the like button, and share. That's it. It costs you $0 to do that. Zero. But it does help us when you do that greatly. And a lot of you, like over 60% of you, are watching the shows every night and still are not subscribed. It just helps your boy out. So you could legitimately subscribe, and you don't have to keep going to that search button on YouTube to figure it out, or on Facebook. You don't have to go and search it. You can just hit the follow, hit the subscribe button, and it's going to come up there for you when we post content and we go live here. So it's all that we ask. Adam is listening to us from the 256, says, go Tigers. Good to have you in here. Justin Stogner's in Pine, Louisiana, Washington Parish. Stand up. The 228 says Cody L. Is that Gaucher? Gaucher, Mississippi, LSU alumni out there kind of by Pascagoula, if I'm not mistaken. Good to have you in here with us. Dr. John Sibley Butler says Austin, Texas via Franklinton, Louisiana, Washington Parish, back-to-back. Stand up, WP. Huh? Brandon Taylor, Terrence McGee in this thing. And maybe Blake Ruffino. Who knows? Who knows? But yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Russell Fox in Lake Charles, the 337 stand up. We're greatly glad for all of y'all to be in here with us. All right. We got lots to discuss. Let's get to it here. Everyone do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. AYS Sports is always brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Guys, I every Saturday, I do a $1 20-leg parlay. A lot of you have asked me, Blake, what is a parlay? It's when you pick 20 games on one ticket. You got to get 20 things right, which, that's not that hard. Yeah, it is. We do it for fun. If you have the discretionary dollars, go over to FanDuel.com today, sign up, and go and do it. When you go over there and do it, I highly suggest understand what you're doing. If you don't have the discretionary income, don't do it. We have partnered with FanDuel. They understand what we believe and what we want to do. And that's why and what makes FanDuel the best. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, go over to FanDuel.com/RG for more. But sign up and let's go have what's going to be a massive week in college football. Let's go and have some fun with our good friends over at FanDuel. By the way, we also got hit up by our good friends over at Game Time. Guys, if you're looking to go to Oxford this week, by the way, you could use the promo code AYS and save $20 on your first purchase. I saw someone last week use the Game Time app, by the way, and save 50% on their tickets for LSU versus Southeastern. I hope that they use that promo code AYS. Game Time is your most reliable ticket source. You can also see the seat that you will be sitting in. You can see the entire view before you purchase the ticket. Again, use the promo code, not AYS, that's on me. Hold on. Not promo code AYS. Promo code SERIOUS, SERIOUS. That's on me. I wrote that wrong. Use the promo code SERIOUS, all caps. You'll get $20 off your first purchase on those tickets. And guys, you could go watch LSU and Ole Miss this week in Oxford. And you can use the Game Time app to purchase those tickets today. No better app, and download the app to get those tickets. But no better app is better for getting those tickets, better than our good friends over at Game Time. All right, let's get moving here. Hit that like and share. We come back, talk about Chambliss, the do's and don'ts for LSU, and I field your questions next. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick. We're back. By the way, October is among us, which means playoff baseball. And Aaron Judge just hit his 50th home run of the season, tying Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and Babe Ruth for the only players to have more than 4 seasons of over 50 home runs. And they did not give it to Barry Bonds, which makes me mad. Regardless of that, playoff baseball is highly intense. And if you are a baseball fan, boy, it's coming. I hope my Yankees can do some damage. I don't think that they are. Now, I told you last week, we're not seeing Paul Skeens moving forward this season. He had his last game. He had an ERA this season under 2, 1.95, I think it was. Paul Skeens has got to get out of Pittsburgh. And the biggest thing on FanDuel that you could have done all year, the best odds. So there's a lot of odds that go over on FanDuel, by the way. The best odds that you could have had, just throwing this out there, was always how many strikeouts Paul Skeens was going to have. You always bet the over. Today was like 6.5. He hit 7. Paul Skeens is a walking over if you are a sports gambling guy. I know that I am, and, well, you don't have it anymore. Bo Knows with a $20 super show says, even though I don't agree with everything you say, I do, but I don't know if West can make plays in the open field versus QB and Lacey when they are running and in coverage. Keys is a better suited for this game. Also, prayers for your family. Bo Knows, first off, thank you for the prayers for our family. My wife can use all the prayers that you guys can get at the current moment. It is going to be interesting to see. So, Bo, I'm going to tie this into your question, then talk about Chambliss. So, Wes Weeks is coming off of a calf injury, and Brian Kelly has said this week multiple times that he fully believes that Wes Weeks will be probable in this game. It is going to be interesting to see the rotation there at linebacker. I think West has been fine. I think he's actually been pretty good for what it's worth. But the way that Devon Keys has played, I do wonder if he's going to see some more rotation in there because he's played really well. Bo Knows, and I for what maybe I did say this, maybe I don't remember saying this. So I'm sorry if I felt like I contradicted myself on something I don't even know if I said. My mind tells me I didn't say this. I don't hate your thought on Devon Keys here. I don't think that I am going to start him over West, especially how I thought West played versus Florida. In reference to a running QB, I do think West is a little bit more faster if Chambliss wants to hit the edge. I do think that Devon has shown a little bit more physicality. I would still go with West. I know you're going to disagree with that, but I do not mind, nor do I disagree at all, that you should rotate that position because I think Donovan Keys has done some really good things and it's been very good for you, and he's kind of been in those spots, and it makes you good and feel good about where you are there in that rotation. So I don't completely disagree with you there wholeheartedly or full-heartedly there. All right, let's get to it here. So Chris Lowe of On3 reported today that Ole Miss does intend to start Trinidad Chambliss, the Ferris State transfer quarterback who took over for Ole Miss at quarterback after Austin Simmons went down with an ankle injury. It appears that Austin Simmons is still battling this ankle injury, doesn't know if they're going to be completely able or he's going to be completely able to go here. But let's talk about Trinidad Chambliss. I think that there's a question going around in college football in reference to Ole Miss of who is this dude? He comes out of Ferris State. He kind of comes out of nowhere. Of course, Lane and Charlie Weiss Jr. is actually the person that found Trinidad Chambliss from a Twitter post that he saw on Twitter and saw this kid play. He's like, man, this kid can come in here and compete. Well, an injury happens with Austin Simmons, and it was really interesting to see what Lane Kiffin was going to do. Now, Chris Lowe is reporting that it is going to be Trinidad Chambliss. I think one thing, and we got to start off with this, that I want to make very well known. There is no way in hell that I'm trusting Chris Lowe's report here, especially when it comes from Lane Kiffin. Let me explain. Do I believe that Chris Lowe was told by someone in that building in Oxford that Chambliss is going to start? Yes. However, I know that Lane loves to play games, and he loves to do this little game playing and likes to do all this little stuff. Like a couple of weeks ago, he didn't even put Austin Simmons on his injury report. Today on the SEC teleconference, he said, guys, it's an availability report. The SEC calls it not an injury report, an availability report, and he came into the game when he didn't put him on there and threw a touchdown pass. With all of that being said, I do wonder what is going to be told here and said here when it comes to Trinidad Chambliss after this game. Sorry, I needed to take that text message. So I want to start off here by saying that I fully believe that you got to prepare for both. I don't think that stops your preparation for either one of these guys, because I do see a world that, look, LSU, Trinidad Chambliss has not seen a team like this or a defense like this. He's not able to do some of the things that he's been able to do the last couple of weeks, that Austin Simmons does come in. Brian Kelly compared this to Texas A&M Monday, saying, hey, man, it could be easily that scenario, but a little bit reversed. Okay, well, that sounds good. Well, then that means that you better be prepared. Now, when LSU fans hear about A&M from a year ago, they legitimately start hyperventilating, myself included. But I think more than anything about A&M a season ago was not necessarily scheme. It was fully because your personnel was not good enough. And I will go to my grave believing that, and quite honestly can't be convinced otherwise that it wasn't just more personnel and how you just got pushed around and you had no answer of stopping the inside zone run. You had no answer for zone read. You had no answer for inverted veer. None. And you got killed on it. But this Trinidad Chambliss kid has been very efficient the last couple of weeks. He's been efficient in the sense of, guys, he's gone 42 of 62, 67.7% completion percentage. He's thrown for 1,719 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the biggest thing for me is not the completion percentage, the touchdowns. It has been how explosive he has made them offensively. He is averaging about 12 yards per passing play per attempt. What Ole Miss has done and why they lead the country in explosive plays is because Chambliss wants to push the ball down the field. And I don't know if you've been challenged a lot of teams really trying to push it down the field a bunch. When they have Mansour Delane, P.J. Woodland, DJ Pickett, the entire safety room has been able to pick things off and able to really shut some things down. So I have a lot of confidence that you're not only going to be able to slow them down in their passing attack, but I think that you're going to be better there than them and that you're going to win that battle. But this kid does not care. He is going to throw the ball all over the place. And that is the thing that scares me, is when you are number one in the country in explosive plays and explosive play rate, you always have to be garnered by that. You always have to make sure you're guarding yourself around that. He is giving this offense a spark that, quite honestly, I don't even think that they had a year ago. There was no time and point in time, really, for me a year ago when I saw Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, who wound up being a first-round pick. The guys in the passing game, they were this explosive, especially when Trey Harris went down, and they have been. But the biggest thing has been for Chambliss is what they've done in the running game. Last week versus Tulane, he had 14 carries for 112 yards, accompanied by Lacey, their running back, having 18 carries for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. What I look at in this game and I look at with him, they're going to get him involved early and often in the run game. Based off of what Lane has said this week, LSU spent the most money in the portal on DBs. It's the best DB room that we've seen. I don't know if they're not going to try to find a way early to run the football with Chambliss on you, which I do think plays into your strength. This young man, however, has not seen a defense that I think is this talented in his life. Arkansas might be even worse, guys, than that 2023 LSU defense. And yes, I said that. They are horrible. They are not good at all. They're averaging missing 15 tackles per game. That's how bad they've been. Guys, Memphis last week versus Arkansas, per PFF, broke 21 tackles against Arkansas. 21 tackles against a G5 opponent. And they wind up losing that game and giving it up. He can be a problem for you. He is a really good runner. And guys, regardless of what you believe, regardless of what we think, when you have a quarterback that can run, it's always dangerous because numbers in the numbers game start benefiting you. When you can run quarterback counter, which they did 4 times last week, when you can run zone read, which they ran a lot last week, when you can run quarterback power, which they've done a lot the last 2 weeks, the numbers game starts getting benefited for you. What's interesting, though, and going to be interesting in this game, is your defense is a lot different than what they have seen. Guys, to me, you're running some variation of a 4-3 hybrid because Perkins is on the field. Now, you can get, and you do get, very multiple. LSU gets very multiple in a lot of things that they do. But let's call a spade a spade. Guys, you're running a hybrid of a 4-3 because you have an athletic freak at star. And because Harold Perkins has been such an athletic freak and done some amazing things this season, guys, I do think he's your X factor on defense. And you can play the numbers game with them and be physical and stop the run. And I think that has been your biggest strength so far this season. It is going to be interesting to see how they try to attack LSU, and Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weis Jr., the OC, try to attack you. But the truth of the matter is I think that this by far, is your best overall offense that you've seen. Based off of what we've seen so far, what Clemson has been, and what Florida has been. And to that point, you have done nothing as a defense that gives me any thoughts that you cannot be highly productive. Guys, last week your first-team offense gave up 31 yards. The week before, your first-team offense had more 3-and-outs than they had combined to the first 3 weeks than you have had all year. You have been exceptional defensively. And we're going to see if Lane and Chambliss can find a weakness in your defense. I don't believe that they can. I don't think that they will. It doesn't mean that they're not going to score. It doesn't mean that they're not going to hit explosive plays on you. And it's not to say that this kid is not going to scramble on you and hit some wide open stuff. A big thing this week on him will be contained. Guys, he can run. And whatever you want to say about the defense, and you can disagree with me all you want, and that's okay. But guys, when you can extend plays, it is a dangerous, dangerous game to play in. You should know you had the most dangerous guy that maybe we've ever seen in college football in moments and times, and Jane Daniels do it for 2 years. It is the X factor. You still got to prepare for both. I think you can slow him down. I've said this on every show I've been on. I have said this on my show and everywhere I've been. If you're asking me, if you lose, it's because Trinidad Chambliss just roasted your secondary. There is no way in blue hell I'm allowing this kid to get going moving the football on the ground. If Tulane can stop Lacey, I say stop Lacey, contain Lacey, their running back, for 3.5 yards a carry. 18 yards, 18 carries, 63 yards. They contained him. The problem is that they did not have an answer for Trinidad Chambliss, and you have a lot of speed where I think that you can. There is just no way in human hell I'm allowing this kid to find a rhythm. He will hit big. He's going to hit a couple of big plays on you. He will. You know, there was a thought there was a question I was asked today by a guy who's not really an LSU fan, but just more of a college football fan. And he asked me, he goes, Blake, I'm going to ask you this because you've kind of watched them a lot. And we've seen what Clemson has been and what Florida has been. Is this the best quarterback that you faced? I think it might be. Based off of what we've seen this season, he very well could be. Contain him. Don't let him break outside the pocket. Let him beat you from inside that pocket, and I think you'll be fine there. Okay. Let's move on here. Everyone do us a favor. Hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. We greatly, greatly appreciate that. Penn Jones with a $5 super chat says, Kiffin's daughter wearing a shirt to game with ISTTDB would be priceless. I got to be real with you. I was asked this today, too. We were at Service Hawk. And they brought that up. It just, like, I don't mean this. I'm not trying to, God, I got to be careful how I say this. when I saw that and she posted it on LSU week, I felt as if for me, it felt like it was a massive look at me moment. Like this is all about me moment. And like, why couldn't you announce it in the beginning of the season? I don't know their dating relationship. Why announce it during the LSU week? That just means that Kiffin's daughter is just as petty as he is. It's petty. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if Lane doesn't try to do something to get at Whit Weeks. The last LSU guy she dated, it didn't go over well. And I say LSU guys if Walker Howard's an LSU guy. I mean, he was an Ole Miss guy. But, hey, listen. It just, you know, y'all tell me this all the time. Blake, that topic doesn't really move the needle for me. This one doesn't really move the needle for me. I really could care less. I think all the memes that I've seen this week, all the memes you've been DMing me and texting me, they are funny. And I'm not telling you to stop. You know, I saw one today that was pretty insane. I get it, right? I get it. I don't care. Like, the only thing that I care about this week, and I mean this, the only thing that I care about is you going to Oxford and winning. The only thing that I care about. So if you can do that, I will be perfectly fine. Broad 337 with a $5 super chat. Is Barry not ready? Am I wrong for wanting to see Barry over Thomas getting reps? I know he's a freshman, but he's a top 5 talent on the roster. I got to be real with you. At the current moment, yes, but we're not there every day, or I'm not there every day to see what Harlan Berry's doing in practice. Clearly, there's something that he's doing that they're not comfortable putting him out there. And guys, you could have easily given him those reps last week. They gave those reps to Juwan Johnson. Like, hey man, can Juwan be the one that carries the load here? I don't mind seeing Harlan Berry, right? Like I don't mind giving him some carries because you got to figure something out here. In reference to Xavion Thomas, and I would have to, you know, I haven't looked this up, and this might even spark a conversation that maybe we need to have. I just feel like that Xavion's been a lot more productive. Let's look at this very quickly. Xavion Thomas has 10 carries for 86 yards this season. 88.6 yards per carry. The other people that have carries on the season, Juwan's got 3.3 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. Harlan Berry has 15 for 87 for 5.8. So maybe, I mean, he's a yard bigger than Xavion, but Xavion has 5 less carries. Caden Durham at 4.1 yards per carry. It doesn't sound like he's going to be really ready to go. And that's really about it. Caleb Jackson's got 6 carries for 6 yards. That's god awful. So I don't know. I simply do not know. Here's what I do know. There are things, and we go through this on every Wednesday, the LSU do's and the LSU don'ts. What are some things that I think LSU's got to do to win this game and things that they got to avoid if they're going to come out with a win? Let's get to some things that LSU must do to win this game. And we get very specific on these today. Because not only do you have Harold Perkins on your team and been electric for your defense, but Ole Miss has a Perkins of their own as well. Sertain Perkins is an edge guy, linebacker hybrid that Ole Miss has had the last couple of years. Last year, Sertain Perkins had 10 sacks on the season, and through 4 games already this year has been very disruptive for Ole Miss. I think that LSU has got to identify where number 4 is at the entire game, and I think at both tackle positions, whether he's over Tyree Adams, whether he is over Weston Davis, the tight ends and running backs have got to get a chip or help out in some pass pro situations on Sertain Perkins. He terrifies me. So the number one thing this week for me that LSU, in my opinion, has got to do, they have got to get some chips. They have got to get some tight ends to give maybe a little hit to get him off of his mark. You got to do some of the things that you did versus Clemson with TJ Parker. Because if you don't, I fear that Sertain Perkins, it can have a really big day against Weston Davis. Guys, the thing about Sertain Perkins and the way that Pete Golden uses him, their elite edge guy, is that he moves to both sides. Now, Deshaun Womack is going to be the other guy. Ironically enough, Deshaun Womack, when he committed to LSU, committed on this show on July the 4th. He has not been able to get home, has Womack, but Perkins has, and he's been very disruptive. What terrifies me and what I think Pete Golden, I don't know this, what I think Pete Golden is going to do is say, hey, they have a weakness at right tackle, and we are going to put Sertain Perkins over him, and we're going to, at least for the first half until you can get DJ Chester in there, we are going to make Weston Davis win those reps, and we are going to make you game plan around number 4 the entire game. I don't think that you can get out of there alive if you do not give help on him. I don't think Weston Davis can hold up. I don't. Not for 4 quarters. You got to do some things. Now, I think Weston Davis, for all that I just said there, is giving you maximum effort. He's giving you everything he's got, and that's all I can really ask. Doesn't mean that he needs to play, start, whatever, to a lot of the points that you're probably going to make on this chat right now. Stopping and containing number 4 for Ole Miss defensively is a must. And sometimes you got to do some chips. Sometimes the tight ends have got to help him pass pro. And because if they don't, things can get really wonky. He can be that disruptive against an offensive line that has been struggling. Guys, twice last week, by the way, on, I guess, their cheetah package too, he lined up in the interior and rushed the passer. I worry about that too, because that is a massive strength for him. Where their quarterback in Garrett, who can run, and we've seen him run, but is not the necessarily fleetest of foot. Ole Miss has been god-awful this year in defending the run. What they have not been god-awful in is getting to the quarterback with Sertain Perkins. And the only thing that I point out here and why I think it's a massive key, unless Sertain Perkins is making a massive play on third down, Ole Miss is 74th in the country in third down rate. They have not been able to get off the field against lesser opponents. It kind of goes to my number 2 here. Ironically enough, I know that we want to see this offense absolutely open this thing wide open, and I don't disagree with you. But, guys, getting in some third and short situations and kind of early in the game managing the thing, I don't know if it's a bad idea, mainly due to the fact of how bad that they have been on third down. Now, goes to my second point here. I know we want to see it so bad because they are dead last in the country at getting off the field on 3rd and 5. They're 74th in the country in third down defensive third down rate. What worries me is that you've been so bad on 3rd and 5, and the Southeastern game is not going to let me change my mind of how bad you've been in moments and times on third down. Because third down and short, third down in general is going to win you the football game, because I think that you can, for what it's worth, lean on them. I think that there is a complete path for you winning this game. And the path is not what a lot of you are going to like. I don't know if you don't play some time of possession and lean on them a little bit early. But you can't really lean on them because you can't run the football. And that is a problem. They do not have the depth to overcome a fist fight for all 4 quarters if you can bring it to them. So not only chipping Sertain Perkins, but staying on the field on third down in either one of these games is more critical. You can't keep giving Lane shots and chances because he's going to figure it out. Like him, love him, or hate him, he's going to figure it out. And they always are a nuisance in things that they do offensively. They've been bad at defending the run, and they've been very bad on third down. Can you exploit both of those things that lesser teams, and quite honestly, less talented teams have been able to do on them that you should be able to? But ironically enough, even though Tulane can do it, and even though these other teams can do it, you will find a way to shoot yourselves in the own foot. Can't have penalties. Yeah, that's a given. But I still think that you are more talented than them. And you can do so many more things than the opponents that they face. Guys, you're better than on offense than Kentucky is. You're a better overall team than Arkansas is. You're by far a better, more talented team than Tulane. Well, then you better figure it out. But what do those teams do? Those teams that were able to get in dogfights with Ole Miss this season, what did they do? Guys, they converted on third down at 50% plus efficiency rate. The only thing Kentucky did was get in third and short, line up, run the ball, get 3 yards, first down. Ole Miss didn't have an answer. They got punched in the mouth after Kentucky embarrassed them and ruined their playoff chances a season ago. You got to chip Sertain Perkins, and you got to stay on the field on third down. And I do fear that Joe Sloan will get inside of his own head. You know, Brian Kelly this week, this is going to be a don't. But Brian Kelly this week, one thing you can't do is be scripted. But we can get to that in a minute. You got to stop being so damn scripted and let the game come to you. That has been a bad problem schematically. Look, we talked about this a lot last night, so I'm just going to kind of pass over and glance over it. You got to attack the middle of the field. Guys, their safety play is awful. It's god-awful. This is, I think, more of the G5 Power 4 teams that you've played. I'm not counting Southeastern in this. I don't know if this isn't the worst secondary or safety room that you've faced. Guys, Arkansas obliterated them over the middle of the field. They have been lost in coverage. Yes, Sage Ryan plays there. They have been lost in man-to-man coverage. They have not gotten lined up properly. If you do not use the middle of the field with Trey'Dez Green, who Brian Kelly announced is going to play this week, I'm going to throw a hissy fit like a 5-year-old. They cannot, against teams that don't have more talent than you, they have not been able to stop stuff over the middle of the field, which is where Garrett wants to go with the football. Then attack it and use Aaron Anderson. We talked about it a lot last night, but guys, their safety play has been god-awful. Let's go and attack it. Start off fast. Look, man, can we for once offensively actually get the ball and go down and score on the first drive? You know, before we get to things I don't think that you can do and things that will harm you if you don't do it. Guys, at what point are you just going to say, we got to figure out how we can get first downs in the first possession of the game? You have not won a toss all year, and I know that Brian Kelly probably wants to defer to the second half, and I pray to God that you win the toss and you defer to the second half. I pray to God that happens. Because some of that shit's out of your control. And even if you receive the ball and you take the ball first from in the game, guys, none of that shit matters. Go score. Go. I don't even care if you score a touchdown. Go get 3 points. Go get 3 points. Because quite honestly, it is getting very annoying that you cannot script anything up in the first 15 plays, even though Brian Kelly says that you've been very scripted. We'll talk about that next. Can we just go get points? Please. If you play out from a lead on them and they start pressing, I don't know if they can overcome it because they haven't done it all year. What does Trinidad Chambliss look like when he's got to throw the football 40 times a game against this secondary? Make them do that. Play from ahead. Be able to risk some things to be able to get him down on the ground. I don't have faith that you are going to start off fast. I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I have no faith whatsoever. I say that, watch them go score in the first drive. I don't think that they can because I think you're too predictable. And teams know what you're going to do. If you want to score on the first drive, give your best playmakers the football in space and say, go have at it. And for whatever it's worth, I don't even know if I wouldn't settle for you getting a pair of first downs to start off the game. And even if you have to punt, then so be it. It would actually be an improvement. You know, outside of the 25-yard run that Caden Durham got on the first play from scrimmage, guys, you've been 3 and out to start the game against every other opponent. You went 3 and out against Louisiana Tech. You went 3 and out against Florida. You went 3 and out against Southeastern. That is awful. Can we get a first down? I don't think that's asking for much. Go 5 wide, and if they go man up, if they go 5 wide and they go zone, all you got to do is find Aaron Anderson, and he's going to make the play. Guys, we overcomplicate this shit. The thing, and now to go to the don'ts. Brian Kelly this week said, and this is the biggest thing I think you cannot do to start off a game. Brian Kelly said, we've been way too scripted. No shit. We got to go into a game and say, listen, let's forget everything of what we think that they are going to do and where we think the flaws are and find just a way and call plays to get our playmakers the ball in space. Because what you've been doing has generated a lot of athletes and players and personnel that have no business guarding Aaron Anderson to guard Aaron Anderson. I don't think formationally you've been bad to some degree. You have gotten favorable matchups. And I don't know if they're not going to play off of you because they're still scared of the speed that you garner. But if teams are still going to play off of you, which is what everybody has done, then nickel and dime their ass, 5-yard dump-off passes down the field. Now, you try to do that against Florida, and Nuss had multiple passes tipped at the line of scrimmage. He threw a double coverage to a running back on an out route when you went 5 wide, when Aaron Anderson's wide open. You try to do it, and your quarterback's got to make better decisions. Because the scripted part of what Brian Kelly was saying was not really the play calling. What he was saying is we are overcomplicating things. LSU offensively has completely overcomplicated and tried to outthink and outsmart the room when, quite honestly, I don't think that they have to. Get Xavier Thomas the ball. Figure out something to get him the football. Aaron Anderson, if you got one-on-one coverage with Barryon Brown early in the game, throw the ball downfield and see what happens. It's not that difficult. And by the way, Garrett I thought was really good at making decisions against Southeastern. You gotta know what they're doing against you. You gotta know. You can't guess. Because Pete is going to – what I thought Pete did so great last year was until the last drive of the game that led you to getting the score in the overtime, he confused the shit out of Garrett. He confused the shit out of him. He just said, I know for a fact that you're not going to run. And quite frankly, I don't know if the first play from scrimmage, you don't want a zone read and if it dictates for you to pull the football, pull the football. As god-awful as they were defending Taylon Green, you don't have to be Taylon Green. Be Garrett Nussmeier, but you can go get 7 yards. You got to stay in front of the chains. But we're trying – I feel like the biggest thing that I have for Joe Sloan, and I know a lot of you don't like some of the things he does. For me, I think he's trying to outthink and outsmart the room when the personnel that he does have – he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do it. Make someone show you that they can cover Aaron Anderson. Because let me ask y'all this question. How many times have you seen Aaron Anderson be draped all over? It's not many. And there's been a lot of good DBs and a lot of good teams that you've faced. It's not been many. Brian Kelly's thought this week, he said the word scripted. I don't believe that's what he meant. What I think he fully meant was, and he might come out and say, no, Blake Ruffino's dead wrong, and that's fine. I'm making a judgment and an opinion. I think he was saying we're overthinking things, and let's just go play. Go get your best playmakers the ball in space and figure out what happens. One thing that LSU must not do is be unaware along your offensive line. Listen, what do I mean by that? Guys, at what point this season are you going to fix some of the outright lapses in awareness and judgment that you've had? Guys, teams are going to continue to run twist and stunts on you until you can prove that you can stop it. You have not. The right side of your offensive line, Weston Davis included, Josh Thompson included, Braylon Moore included in on this. How do you guys not know how to pick up a simple twist? And I've known Pete Golding a long time. Well over 20 years. I've known Pete Golding. And I will tell you this. If Pete Golding sees something on film and Southeastern doing it, he is going to replicate it against you this week. This offensive line better be ready for twist, stunts. He better be ready for a lot of people at the line of scrimmage and bailing out. He is going to try to confuse the shit out of you because he doesn't think that you're good enough to be able to stop them, even though that they have deficiencies along their defensive line, which they do. He doesn't care. I don't know if this can be fixed in a week, but one thing that can be fixed in a week is how you protect against stunts and twists and what teams have done against you all season. Guys, that is mental reps. That is knowing your assignment and knowing your job. Josh Thompson has got to be better. He has not been. Guys, let's just call it like we see it. Weston Davis is taking too much of the blame, and Josh Thompson's not taking enough of it. Listen, these guys are getting paid an enormous amount of money to play college football. And if that is going to be the case, and you are going to spend the amount of money that you do in the portal, we have to have the wherewithal to be able to call this out. It has been atrocious. Look, I'll even show you this. I don't get into this much, and I don't do the whole Carter thing. But I need to show you this. Southeastern ran a twist on you, okay? They ran a twist on you last week, and that's a horrible footage. This right here is Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson should be standing right where that Southeastern lineman is running. Jawan Johnson picks up the defensive tackle, which Weston Davis is trying to take over that defensive tackle, okay? But he sees that Josh Thompson is not moving. It is not going to take the loop guy. So he starts running after him. Everybody and their mama on that play on social media started blaming Weston Davis. And before you say that you didn't, I bookmarked your tweets and media people's tweets that said that was on Weston Davis. Then you do not know offensive line play because that's on Josh Thompson. Teams have been doing this every single week on you. And the simple fact that Garrett has been able to make the plays that he's been able to make when you can't pick up a simple twist. I don't think it's been a lot of physical stuff in pass pro. I think it's been mental. So, look, there's not a lot of don'ts that I have, like things you cannot do for you to lose. But continuously allowing teams every week to do that on you and you still have not picked that up is god-awful. It's a lack of coaching, it's a lack of awareness, and it's a lack of not knowing and doing your job. And that you cannot allow Southeastern to do that on you. You can't. So, we'll see. Last thing here. The last thing that you cannot do, or you're going to lose to Ole Miss. Hot take. I don't care what. I do not care what your run game looks like against Ole Miss. Blake, what do you mean you don't care? You got to stay with it. You cannot abandon it. I do feel like at some point, now that Garrett is kind of out of this torso injury thing, that you're going to let him throw the ball a lot more than he did last week. You cannot abandon it. I am very fearful that Joe Sloan is going to start abandoning the run. I am very fearful that Garrett is going to check out of things and start getting out of run plays because it's not working. And you can't do that. You got to have the threat of some run game, even if it's 2 to 3 yards to carry. You got to do it. I thought the biggest problem you had against A&M last year was that you got so panicky that you couldn't run the ball, that you completely stopped. Gus, you did not, from halfway through the third quarter on, when you were still leading in the game, you did not run the football another time in that game. You didn't. And I get that they were physically dominating you. I get it. But, man, you can't get away from it. Because if you get away from it this week, as god-awful as that front seven's been in defending the run, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. All right. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, we fielded some of your questions. We did a Q&A earlier today. I'm going to answer some more of those questions when we come back. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month, and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on. Hey, Southwest Louisiana, are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see him over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat, go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on by.
We're back.
All right. So you can fire in your questions here. We're going to field some questions that we got on social media from earlier today. But if you have a question, hashtag Ask Blake inside the chat right now. I'm not answering it if it doesn't have hashtag Ask Blake in it. So B-Rad on Twitter says, Blake, are you worried about Weston Davis versus Sertain Perkins? Yes. I just spent like 20 minutes talking about it. Heavens, yes. I think it's the biggest advantage Ole Miss has versus you with their defense versus our offense. I don't think it's close. So B-Rad, yes. I'm waiting. Here's the thing. Here's my thoughts on Weston Davis. I do think that we need to be a little bit patient with him. Okay? He's given you so much effort. I think he will be better. I do think he's gotten a lot better each week. I think he got a lot of blame last week that did not belong to him. A speed edge rush guy went around the corner and he pushed him out. Okay, fine. Well, then move. Your quarterback does not have to be stable. Like, your quarterback can move. Like, I get what you're saying. He gave up a hurry. That's fine. But I do think some of the other stuff is just simply not on him, guys. I don't. I legitimately don't. Josh Thompson can't worry about Weston Davis's assignment before taking care of his own. He's got, if like I heard somebody this week say, well, Blake, Josh Thompson was just trying to put. No, he can't worry about Weston Davis's issue. He's got to take care of, be one of 11. Take care of your job first. Don't worry about Weston Davis, because missing your assignment is going to get you beat too. Am I worried about Perkins versus Weston Davis? Yeah, I'm pretty terrified here, B-Rad. Trinidad enthusiast and Ole Miss fan on Twitter says, Blake, do you think this is a 24-17 game or a 42-38 game? 24-17. I don't see either offense scoring 35 plus points. 35 would be a limit for me. I just don't see it. I don't see it. As bad as LSU offensively has been and as good as LSU defensively has been, I just don't see it. This would be a game, though, that it would happen. If you're asking me, I think that either team wins 24-17, 24-21. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. And LSU might win like 13-10 for all I know. But it's how I see it. Hell, Ole Miss might win 13-10 for all I know. But I don't see it getting into the 40s. I can't envision that. This isn't the Jayden Daniels era. You're not close to touching that. So if you're asking me, am I taking the over or the under of 52.5? I am taking the under if on FanDuel, by the way, if you are asking me. I am not taking the over at all. I'm not coming close to taking the over. I just don't. I don't think. I think it's 24-21 max. I think you get 45 points. I don't think you can get to 52. Really, I don't. All right, last one before we get some of these in here. Podran Jay on Twitter says, Blake, do you think they're going to send a lot of pressure after Garrett Nussmeier? I don't know in the beginning of this that they're going to need to. I think they're going to try to get home at 4 because Perkins can beat Weston Davis. However, if they can't, hell yeah, they're going to send Garrett, and they're going to try to get him down quickly. Pete loves sending pressure on non-mobile quarterbacks. I've literally heard Pete Golden say that he will rather risk it for the biscuit, I think was his quote. So yeah, I do think they're going to try to fluster Garrett. especially based off of what his actions were last year. I do think that they're going to try to get Surtain Perkins very much involved on Weston Davis, though. All right, a couple in here. David says, ask Blake, do you honestly think Sloan can call a good game enough to win? Yeah, I do. I do. Some of the things I don't blame Joe Sloan for, the offensive line and the running backs missing holes. The blocking and the run game, I don't blame him a lot on. Because, guys, I think that that's more of a personnel and Brad Davis thing more than a Joe Sloan thing. Like, what do you – somebody – let me ask this. What do you want him to call? What do you want Joe Sloan to call that he hasn't called? Guys, they've run counter. They've run zone read. They've done shit where they've motioned guys in the backfield, and guys are still penetrating in the backfield. At some point, we got to talk about this. Like, I don't know. Is it personnel? Guys, defensively, you went in the portal and got a lot of players. Was it personnel or scheme for Blake Baker? You didn't go get a lot of offensive linemen. See what I'm saying? I mean, like, how are you made the pressure on Garrett? That's not on Joe Sloan. And Jason says jet sweep. That's only going to work so much. That's not going to work. If you're talking about a general run game, they've run counter. Running backs are missing the hole. They've run inside and outside zone, and Caden Durham refuses to hit one outside. He refuses. Guys, he had a one-on-one with the corner last week and ran away. He stopped and went the other direction and got hurt for his actions. So, Carvis says a scheme can make a lineman look better than what they are. Carvis, not when they keep giving up penetration because they can't block. They've run counter, they've given up penetration. They've run zone, they've given up penetration. They've run wham, they've given up penetration. They've run power, they've given up penetration. Jet sweep is not going to win you games to get you to the playoff. See, now I got to come out here and defend Joe Sloan, which is a horrible place to be at the current moment based on what the fan base believes. Call what? You're saying a scheme can call what then? And Carvis, you know I love you. I'm not like yelling at you. I'm just saying, like, and call what? Call what? I mean, Jaden Daniels bailed you out on a lot of stuff. Blake, why did it work versus Clemson? It didn't work versus Clemson. You had 108 rushing yards against Clemson. It was sustainable. Let me tell you what worked against Clemson. What worked against Clemson is that you had a guy in the backfield named Xavion Thomas who actually found creases when the offensive line was actually blocking worth a damn. So it's not only the offensive line, but sometimes your running backs aren't hitting holes and they're not going in the right direction. And a punt return is a lot like finding a crease. So it's not, guys, I really don't think it's Sloan. Not all of it. And that's a horrible, that's going to get clipped and be like, Blake says it's not Joe Sloan's fault. Shit. Because, guys, some of it's not. Some of it might just be a personnel issue. And we got to get over that. It's the last thing that we want to talk about, but it is the truth. Gibb on YouTube says, Blake, what's more likely, 300 yards passing from Garrett or 150? Oh, Garrett throwing. I mean, Gibb, this is like a 95% chance that I would pick 300 yards versus 150. I don't think you're getting to 150. As bad as their defensive line is, I don't think you get to 150. You couldn't get to 150 on Southeastern. What makes me think that, and they have better personnel than Southeastern, what makes me believe that you could do it now? You guys, you ran for 135 yards against Southeastern. Someone tell me why you would think that you could remotely come close to even that versus Ole Miss, who's dead last in the SEC in run defense. So, yeah. Franco, No. No, I'm not. No. Answer's no. Cation Curveball says Caden Durham is the best back on this team. Y'all are some Looney Tunes. Caden is an NFL back running through tackles. Question mark. What is this? 2007. Get a grip. Who was the best running back the last year? Who has been the best backs in the country? You have to run through. Cation, I don't mean this in thank you for the super chat. I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all. What are you talking about, bud? Like, again, I don't mean this disrespectfully at all. You mean to tell me that you don't want running backs running through tackles? He's not been the best back on your team right now. He had 7 carries for 17 yards. He's not hitting the hole, and I will walk through it with you if you want me to. He is missing wide open lanes. Wide open lanes. How many? Go back and watch the entire game versus Southeastern, and Jordan Rodgers points out multiple times of him missing a wide open lane. He is not the best back, right? Let me back up. Is he the most talented back on your roster? Yes. Is he the most productive right now on your roster? No. And production means a lot more to me than actual talent does. Because, guys, quite frankly, there have been more guys that have been more productive that the guys below them are more talented. Let me give an example. In 2018, Jamar Chase was better than Jeray Jenkins. At the current moment in 2018, Jeray Jenkins was giving you more production. I mean, not Jeray Jenkins. Yeah, it was Jeray Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken. No, production must outweigh the talent portion of this. He's pitter-pattering too much at the line of scrimmage right now. He is. He's getting frustrated. And in that frustration, man, what do you mean by broken tackles? You got to be able to run through arm tackles. I'm sorry, but that calling us a Looney Tune or calling me a Looney Tune when you're saying that a running back that runs in between the tackles shouldn't break tackles is a little egregious. So you can't call me a Looney Tune and say that. I'm sorry, that's a bit much. It's a bit much. Cajun. All right, buddy, I'll just point it out for you. You can't blame it all on the O-line. I'm sorry. Let me ask you this. Then why is Xavion Thomas and Jawan Johnson having more production? Why are they having more production? You tell me. Why is Jawan Johnson taking the carries that Caden Durham should have? You tell me. Why does he have? Let's go back and look at it. Where's Jawan? I mean, Caden's got 52 carries. I mean, I don't know. I just disagree. Wasn't directed at you, Blake. Okay, gotcha. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in reference to the question because I greatly appreciate when y'all send in super chats. I really do. But to say a running back shouldn't be breaking some tackles at the line of scrimmage is kind of chaotic to me. You're going to have to. And here's the thing. If your O-line's bad, you got to be exceptional in the run game from a running back perspective. Like, I don't think that there's any player on the team right now that could have made the play like Caden did on the first play versus Clemson. But right now, he's not getting the level of production for you. He's just not. And he wasn't hurt before last week. He came out after the 7 carries for 17 yards. You mean to tell me that you can't cut it, you can't hit an edge? I vehemently disagree. Vehemently disagree. And I will point out a lot of times where he is missing blatantly wide open gaps that he cannot miss. He just can't miss. All right, last one. We're out of here. Samuel says, ask Blake, why is it on most sports books that Ole Miss is favored? Well, I think they really have it at more of a pick 'em. I think that when you go, so this is the overall thought. When a team goes on the road to an opponent, the road team or the home team is going to get 3 points in college football. They always are. Okay? So really, on a neutral field, this is basically a pick 'em. They're saying LSU is a half-point dog, really. 1.5-point dog. Or just, it's basically a pick 'em. I said this on Monday. The guys over at FanDuel will tell you they have no faith that you can run the football, and they have no faith that your offense can figure it out. And they think at some point that, and they use this a lot on metrics, right? Like, let me give an example. I'm sure a lot of you know who Josh Pate is. Josh does this, what is it called? Somebody in the chat help me out. It's his power rankings. The JP poll, immunity. Basically, he goes through the top 20 and says something to the effect of, hey, this is who would be favored in order on a neutral field. And I think it's intriguing. And a lot of those guys use like algorithms, computers, metrics to figure that out. This isn't just humans picking behind the scenes on like FanDuel. That's how they use it. Last one. Cajun sends in another super chat. Says $5 super chat. Caden isn't utilized correctly. Sohn is a jackleg. How is he not utilized correctly? How is he not utilized correctly? What do you want them to do? Tell me what you want him to do. End of story. He needs to be in more spread offense. You are in more spread offense. You ran 11 personnel zone read, and he had a wide open lane literally last week, and he missed it. He tried to cut it back. I'm sorry. Cajun, it's just not true. As much as you want it to be true, it's not true. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it is the truth. All right. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you all for the prayers tonight. And we will see you tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed one. Peace.